Hi, my name is Scott Curlin, and my best friend Lils Martin hates musicals.
I'm Lils Martin, and my friend and acquaintance Scott Curlin loves musicals.
Wait, what?
I don't begrudge him for it or anything.
Wait,
I don't know.
I said you were my best friend, and you just called me a friend and acquaintance?
Yeah.
I was working really, really hard on creating this podcast for you where I show you great movie musicals and bad movie musicals because I love you, but you want to be a dick. We were supposed to record this promo for Hell is a Musical, and what are we doing right now?
Sounds like we're recording the promo right now.
Hell is a Musical on the Zero Science Network.
Be there. Sorry. I'm sorry. Hey, welcome to Jukebox Zeros. We're sorry. We're very sorry.
Just use the special Jukebox Zeros pliers that were administered each and every fiscal year.
Mine have been misappropriated. Welcome to Jukebox. I can't even say
borrow mine. Here you go, right here.
Okay. Thank you for lending this. All right, that helped, but I still feel very sorry. Sorry. Welcome to Jukebox Zeros, the podcast where we're sorry. We're very, very sorry. I can't even say the tagline today. We're just so sorry.
Yeah, man. This sucks.
We're normal now, and we're so sorry.
I think I know what you're talking about, and I'm just gonna go right there with you. I'm really sorry.
It's normal to be this sorry, right?
Absolutely, it's very normal to atone for bad things. Who are you?
I am Lils, and I'm sorry. Who are you?
I'm Patrick, and I'm sorry.
We're so sorry, guys. Guys, we're sorry. We are so fucking sorry.
Yeah, I should be the one apologizing the most.
That's our guest, Jacob Russell here.
Hi.
New to the podcast. Jiggly Jacob online.
Yes, hello. I partially caused this, but Lils, you did play a part as well, and I think you know damn well you did.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, before we even talk about what we're actually sorry about, we need to go to the aforementioned apology section. So yeah, it's the apology section, and we're sorry. We're so fucking sorry for what this episode is going to be.
We're apologetic now. It's just part of the new normal. God damn it.
Yep, that's part of the new. See, we understand that the topic of our discussion today almost certainly does not.
I don't even want to get into it. What else can we talk about? Like, what literal else can we talk about other than the topic of today's episode, which we're just diving right into, by the way, I guess.
I mean, I've got a Talking Strong Bad plush, which is quite amusing. It says phrases.
You know what? I have that exact same plush.
Awesome. They can have a conversation. They can do the podcast. We can just keep squeezing their heads.
Can you folks get them real quick and sync them up?
Yep. Let me just.
If you rub me on your face, I'll give you a rash. Talking Strong Bad plush doll will not actually give you a rash.
Oh, that's so funny. Listen to this. Did I hope that picked up?
Strong bad. Sorry.
See, now we're having fun. Now we're having fun as a family, and without having to do the. We're just delaying the inevitable at this point, aren't we?
We're trying to remember the good parts of the 2000s, not the really ugly parts of it.
Oh boy, should we just get into ripping that Band-Aid off?
I think so. This album that we're covering today is a bit like the soundtrack to my personal hell, if you will.
Oh yes, I absolutely know what you're talking about.
I think that there was a curse put on us by the ghost of Walter Becker after lambasting his album last episode. His magnum opus.
You consider that his album and not so much Donald Fagen?
I mean, well, actually, interestingly enough, this is real. Their contract
that flies completely in the face of all things Steely Dan.
Well, actually, this is real. According to their contract that they set up way back in 1972 or whatever, it's written in there that whoever quits or dies automatically surrenders their share of the Steely Dan estate or whatever. So
so they had their own little tontine going.
Exactly. So my thought is that in the afterworld, underworld, side world, I don't know, wherever it falls, wherever that plane falls, he gets all the rights to the Steely stew, if you will, and also gets to put curses on people just for the hell of it.
All right, Pat, I appreciate what you're doing here, but it's no use. We have to just get into this. We have to rip this Band-Aid off finally.
You're right.
We have to take our gross, disgusting pill.
I'm trying to help out. I'm just trying to do my part.
I know you're trying to help out, and you're wonderful for doing so, but there's just no escaping this, I'm afraid.
All right, we can't escape the fate, if you fucking will.
I get it.
I feel my life force draining from my body.
It's like escape the fate, if you will. Like the metalcore band that Ronnie Radke used to, whatever his fucking name is.
Yes, why don't we take this opportunity to meet Ronnie Radke, an inspirational figure to swaths of fans of metalcore, pop punk, Vans Warped Tour, and fans of Fearless Records cover compilations, who emerged from a broken childhood filled with drug abuse and an absent mother to front Falling in Reverse, one of the more successful and beloved metalcore acts still active today. Conversely, meet Ronnie Radke, a perennial scumbag who has multiple times been accused of domestic abuse, sexual assault, aggravated assault, and spent time in prison for his involvement in literal murder in his early 20s, causing him to be kicked out of his first band, the even more beloved, as I understand it, metalcore act Escape the Fate. A character who, in spite of all of his trials and tribulations, lyrics with a frequently inspirational message, and insistence that he's learned from his mistakes over the years, has continued to be in the news for attacking critics and members of his own fan base, refused to apologize for anything he's done over the years, including but not limited to writing some of the most misogynistic lyrics of an already heavily misogynistic genre of music during the band's early years, and more recently being an avid cancel culture whiner. Now that you've met him, in 2013, after achieving critical and commercial success among metalcore publications with Falling in Reverse's 2011 debut, The Drug in Me Is You, Radke and company followed things up with the record Fashionably Late. Radke would state in interviews that the album was the best thing he's ever worked on, with a heavier emphasis on positive and uplifting lyrics and wild fusions of genres, mixing metalcore music with dubstep, country, chiptune, and Radke's first love, hip-hop. Critics, however...
Sorry, not you, not to you, Wells.
I know, Pat. You're wonderful. Critics, however, disagreed vehemently. Falling in Reverse currently stands at a rating of 38 out of 100 on Metacritic and received largely negative reviews upon its release. And now, in recent years, I have learned certain misguided summer children of my generation, the kind of people who would probably call themselves Marilyn Manson truthers, have been actively trying to rehabilitate this album's reputation as being quote-unquote ahead of its time and quote-unquote an unheralded classic. We cannot let this stand.
No.
Against our better judgment, we're listening to Fashionably Late by Falling in Reverse.
You see, the part that really wigged me out there was him saying that this is the best thing he's ever done. I hate to start this with praise, but I will say, the metalcore and I like separate metalcore and post-hardcore a little bit, but I will say I'm not big into that general scene, but I will say I do like "Dying Is Your Latest Fashion," which is the first Escape the Fate album and the only one that Ronnie Radke was on. That's a halfway decent album. You wouldn't know that he apparently knows how to write lyrics from this fucking record, but the lyrics on that one are halfway decent, and it's produced a lot better. So, I mean, I get it. You gotta promote the latest release, but that's just not true.
Right. This was an album you yourself picked. Pat and I really don't have a lot of experience with metalcore as a genre. In fact, like, I would say, just to get into that, I used to be very myopic in my opinions of music. I used to be one of those persnickety pitchfork hipsters that we love to make fun of so much. I've gotten so much better at it over the years, to the point where I like if you hear someone say that cliche of like, I listen to everything, like I legitimately listen to everything. Like there's no genre of music that I've been able to find that I haven't been able to find something that I like. With the notable exception of metalcore. Really? Yeah, nothing has really, like, I've not been able to find, like, one thing in it that I genuinely like, or can say, like, yeah, this is the good version of that.
Not even like any Kill Switch Engage or nothing?
Nope. I mean, I'm familiar with a couple of their songs, but it's just sort of, this is here. Nothing that really, like, I really would say that I enjoy.
That's fair. I'm not huge. Like I said, I'm not huge into it either. I'm historically like a clean vocalist purist in a way. Like I have a harder time getting into growling or screaming vocals myself.
Right. That's not even the issue with me. Like I like death metal and black metal perfectly fine. Metalcore though just never really.
It
clicked.
is very samey as well. That's another contributing factor there. And I don't even know why particularly I like "Dying Is Your Latest Fashion." It's not terribly unique sounding. Maybe it's because I have a bit of nostalgia, because one of their songs was on a Tony Hawk soundtrack I played when I was younger, which helps. Like being on a Tony Hawk soundtrack helps a lot. But yeah, I bet. No blame spread there.
How about you, Pat? What is your sordid history with metalcore, if you have any?
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm like maybe like the best way to explain it is that like I was probably in my late 20s or something. I definitely was when this album came out, 2013. But it metalcore, emo, pop punk always seemed like stuff that was kind of targeted towards people who were about like 5 to 10 years younger than me, I guess. So I always kind of had this, again, like you, Lil's, like a myopic view on things like that, and kind of tended to look at those genres as like, it's kid stuff. Meanwhile, I was like perfectly fine with Dream Theater, which like incidentally is also kid stuff, just like really nerdy kid stuff. And and I had my own versions of that, and I listened to nu metal, which really, is possibly even less forgivable than like the emo pop punk stuff. But yeah, I never really got into it. That's not to say that like I've had issues with metal. In fact, I used to really love a lot of black metal, death metal, melodic metal stuff when I was younger. I think what separates this shit for me is maybe the lyrical content and just like the general vibe that I get. I think like some of those like Norwegian death metal bands and even some of the American black metal bands, like they had sensibilities that are like a little more like mine. Like, they wore flannel and like, didn't shave and, just like kind of like grubby, and they sang about like, I don't know, fucking Vikings or burning down churches or whatever the fuck. And yeah, just I couldn't get into this sort of like suburban kind of like girl centric, like I'm feeling victimized by like the women in my life sort of attitude. And yeah, like a lot of the guys on the scene just kind of gave me the creeps too. As it turns out,
sure.
Probably for good reason. not saying that they're all like that, of course, but there were
Right.
definitely a healthy few that we've come to find out later were absolute creeps all along. But
Oh yeah, there's a definite reason why metalcore is considered one of those scenes.
yeah, and it's it's a shame because there probably is like good forgivable stuff in that genre that I think is just always gonna just be a non-starter for me. But who knows? I have a tendency to like things when it's once it becomes like 10 to 20 years older. So we'll see what happens in the future. Certainly didn't help this album being 9 years older, but we'll get into that more.
I think
Yes.
There's also the bit of age difference here because you said you were in your early mid 20s in 2013.
Yeah, I'm going to be 38 next month, so yeah, I'm almost 40.
I had just graduated high school. Am I the youngest guest y'all have had?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I'm not sure actually.
I just turned 27 last week.
I think,
very nice.
No, that Franco is 27, I think.
Yeah,
and-
I was gonna say wanted to say maybe Franco might have been younger, but I guess he's the same age.
Yeah,
Okay.
a fine
All right.
vintage.
Just curious. But yeah, like I was also pretty I was very high and mighty about my musical taste in high school. Like I tried actually because I knew what I started getting into music like my first two favorite artists were Ozzy Osbourne and Marilyn Manson. I don't listen to him much these
Good
days. Yep. Moving on.
Understandably so.
Yep. Anyway, so I knew I wanted to get into heavier music, and I tried like specifically like metalcore and nu metal because that's what my classmates who were into rock music were listening to, and I tried to make myself like them, and I found a few gems here and there that some of which are still in my playlist. I'm sure if I thought about it hard enough, but yeah, I just typically gravitated more towards classic heavy metal and thrash metal and stuff, and nowadays my tastes are a lot more spread out, thankfully. And I somehow, as I've gotten older, I have at least grown a bit more of a taste for this type of music, particularly pop punk. I've started listening to a lot more lately. But the Falling in Reverse post-hardcore fucking metalcore scene is still a bit out there for me. Not that this album is even a good indication of that sound, anyway.
Oh, I'm sure. So before we start getting into the tracks, I believe Jacob, excuse me, I believe you inferred that there's a little bit of sneaky history involving this album between the two of us specifically.
It certainly is, which is why I cannot shoulder all of the blame for this episode. Now, please allow me to share this tale as I remember it. I believe it was 2014, actually. You, me, our friend Michaela, and some other friends of ours were meeting up in Boston. I was waiting at the Prudential Center. I think it's a rule on this podcast. You have to mention some New England landmark. So there's mine for that. Waiting to meet up.
You've done your homework.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
I've binged this show so much while I'm at work. So, yes, I have done my homework.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
We and the boys used to meet up there. It's real good. We get Dunkin' Donuts. Sorry, continue.
So, we were the first group to meet up. I remember you pointing at me from across the way. We shared a friendly embrace, and then you put your hand upon my shoulder and said, "Jacob, I've always wanted to tell you this in person, but I hate your guts." And then, as with this evil sneer on your face,
Yeah, I don't.
Lils, please, it's rude to interrupt.
My mistake.
You reached into your bag and pulled out two records, one of which I will keep a secret because if you ever have me back on, that'll probably be the album I pick. And the second being Fashionably Late, because you knew from my Facebook posts that those were two albums that I particularly did not enjoy. And you worked at like some kind of like music distributor or something, so you managed to get them for free, right? Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, like the full context of that is Like, I guess we'd been planning this meetup at Anime Boston for quite a while, and I was familiar with your visceral aversion to that album and the other aforementioned album. And in the time intervening from when I worked at my former employer, the music distribution company, I received, like, on 2 separate occasions, I received just, like, returned goods, and what just happened to be included among them, I'm sure entirely sent by mistake by the vendor, were copies of this album and the other album. And I saw them and I thought, wow, 2 things that Jacob hates most. Wouldn't that be funny?
And it was very funny. And then we
Yes, you have to at least give me that.
Oh yeah, it was hilarious.
And I think I also gave you a Lord of the Lost album too, which was rad as hell. So
yes,
hopefully that made up for it a little
yes,
bit.
you gave me Lord of the Lost's first album, which I really like, and you gave me a Masters of Reality album, which I haven't listened to it in a long time, but I remember I couldn't really get into it, sadly, but I still appreciate it greatly.
Oh, well, that's okay.
And for the record, I am holding the Fashionably Late CD in my hand at this moment. I still have it, and I listened to it.
You still have it.
Of course I still have it. What am I going to do? Throw it away? It was a gift. It would be rude.
You don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Come on.
And I gave this record the respect it deserves. I played it through my PS2, through my CRT TV speakers, not an hour ago.
Wow, on speakers.
Yep.
For possibly other people to hear.
Specifically,
and know that you're listening to.
Specifically my fiance, who thankfully sat through it with me. And they're much more inclined to like music like this. And they struggled. They certainly struggled.
Well, you know what? That's why you're, a match made in heaven.
Yep.
Of course.
Yep. True love wins. Should we get into the tracks?
Yeah, let's do it.
No, I don't want to do this one. Just
Nope.
let's do another album.
Okay, let's talk about fishing instead.
Okay.
You see, they're slimy, much like Ronnie Radke. Shit!
Crap. There really is no escaping this, is there? All right. The sooner we get through these, the sooner we can just expunge this from our memory. Except you, maybe,
Nope.
Jacob.
It ain't going anywhere.
I'm still going fishing. I don't know.
So yeah, let's get into it against our better judgment. Here's track number 1 off this album. Track number 1, Champion. I don't know if that's true.
Someone calls him a champion, I'm sure.
Could it be him?
Yep, that's one.
Ronnie
got
himself.
Could it be himself?
Ronnie, you know what? You're pretty good at, picking at your...
Smelling.
You're pretty good at taking out your plugs and picking at them, and they smell probably like really bad cheese.
Going up to
Gross
people on the
asshole.
street and going, yo, check this out.
And then
It smells like cheese.
yo, check this out, and then he farts.
That's the first track off of this record, titled Champion. Upon first glance, you may listen to this and think, okay, this is just... You may think, as I did the first time I listened to this record, well, okay, this is just a very, very standard, very almost stereotypical metalcore song. This seems like this might not be such a terrible thing. Then we reach this breakdown.
Stop. Hold on. I got this new head on my shoulders and I'm looking for justice. So gladly seeking out bitches that decided to talk shit. You want conflict? Well, I got it and I ain't gonna stop until I drop or take that motherfucking place on top. Ain't giving it back when I take that place. As a matter of fact, let's come to the chase. Gonna take that spot on top of the list. Quick, call it statutory right. You want some beef? Better bring
There you go. There you go. That's what we have to look forward to for 11 more tracks.
Oh, it was... Isn't that something? Isn't that something? For the record, for those who do not know, there was no rapping on the first Falling in Reverse album, so this came as a surprise to many people.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, even like now, as you know, rap has become a lot more sort of normalized as a mainstream thing, even more so than rock. And you see all this sort of fusion between, like, you know, with hip hop and all this sort of stuff and metal with artists like, you know, Horror and Fever 333, I want to say. I forget their name. But, like, you know, all those sort of those metal acts that, like, have kind of doing new metal a little bit better than their forebears. But even, like, in spite of all that, boy, this sucks.
Yeah, this shit just sucks. I don't really have anything else to say about it. I mean, it just sounds thrown together like a course, like that's obvious. But I hate that little part where he's like, "Wait, hold on."
All right, stop. Hold on.
And this is going to be like a thing I have with it over the course of the record, is that like he thinks he's fucking funny, and he's fucking not
Oh, yes.
funny.
There are so many parts on this record where he thinks he's being cute.
And like that's like
quirky.
that was like one of the first indicators of and I just cringed every single time he did it. Not just because he's like a piece of shit person, like, you know, can't take any of that shit seriously as a result, but like it. What are you doing? It just sounds silly.
You know, that's one. When we were talking before we started the episode, like, you were referring to the band as they, and I was actually like, my brain was confused at why you were saying that, because to me, Falling in Reverse is such just Ronnie Radke being Ronnie Radke for 48 minutes. I barely, like, my brain could not comprehend them as a band, because historically they're not. So you're gonna get all Ronnie Radke all the time on this album.
You know, that's a good point. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like even fans of theirs will say, no, this is... Escape the Fate felt more like a band. And even now, when they also have started sucking more, it's weird. Like, they split up, and they both started sucking more in both directions. I don't know how that works. But Escape the Fate felt more like a band. Fashionably Late. Falling in Reverse is definitely a Ronnie Radke solo project.
Yeah, what do you know? Like, I'm looking on the band member section of Falling in Reverse on Wikipedia. Ronnie Radke is the only original member.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that, but I looked that up.
That's always a good sign.
Yeah.
When you run into that sort of thing.
So he didn't play like every instrument, though. It looked like he had these other musicians playing with him, right?
Correct. I mean, he has a band. It's one of those things that it's probably disrespectful to the musicians who overall are, while they're not like super standout, they all play their instruments fine, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair. They're just collecting a paycheck, and you can hardly fault them for that.
Ronnie's calling all the shots, basically, and telling them exactly what to play, and kind of seeing them every step of the way.
Yeah, he did the vast majority of the songwriting, it seems, and he also apparently played piano at some point.
"Quote unquote," played piano.
It did say in his. I've skimmed his Wikipedia article a few times. It did say he learned piano at a young age, so I'm sure he did.
Yeah, good. Yeah, this shit sucks, and it's like right away we're getting the, like, you know, he thinks very highly of himself. Obviously, he has this sort of
he loves him.
Yeah, the sort of, like, you know, grandiose notions about himself, and you know, calling himself a champion, and then we get into this rap where it's him, you know, doing the white boy boasting, which, you know, I get that he kind of had a harsh upbringing and whatnot, and that kind of colors your perception on things, and you know, maybe even your interests, and you know, hip hop, I'm sure, is an important part of his life, but you know, that doesn't mean you should do it, and doesn't mean you should throw it into your, you know, in the middle of your like emo core songs, like, just because it's different, and it just sounds silly. It's disorienting, and doesn't even matter. Like, these critiques don't matter because this dude sucks. That also colors my opinion.
Yeah, here's a line that aged well. Ain't giving it back when I take that place. As a matter of fact, let's cut to the chase. Gonna take that spot on top of the list. Quick, call it statutory rape.
What is, like, I had to read that line today. What's that supposed to mean? Like, he's on the top of a list, like a sexual predator list? That's the only thing I can think of he's trying to say there.
Yeah, and he's already, that's already a dumb line, and it's even dumber considering that he's been accused of sexual assault multiple times.
Yeah. There's a lot on this album that's aged poorly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and there are legit, people on YouTube just being like, oh, classic. It's not a classic. You're fools.
Maybe it was like an eye roll thing, classic Ronnie here, thinking highly of himself.
If this is a classic album, then that really says more about the people saying that than this album itself, really.
Yeah. Other thing we get right off the bat is the kind of through line concept here is just like a contempt for women, and to the point where you just can't ignore it. There's the anytime he's speaking, he's saying something awful. And it's just like. And yeah, I read a little bit about his history, and I guess his mommy didn't love enough growing up, or she was off doing drugs or something, and I don't know. Lots of people go through shit, exactly like that, and don't turn into monsters. Yeah,
that part really confuses me. I feel like there may be a little bit of context we're missing just to give benefit of the doubt. But the Wikipedia article words that Radke's mother abused drugs and was absent from his childhood, which he said caused him to have a general lack of respect towards women as an adult, although he later forgave her when she posted blah, 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 whatever. Maybe when you're formative years, I can understand having that feeling because you're a teenager and you're an idiot. I was an idiot when I was a teenager. Fucking once you become an adult and have a little bit more life experience, then I feel like you should be able to look inside yourself and see, man, I don't like my mom. I had a rough growing up, but that's not women's fault. That's my mom's fault. I don't have to be a dick towards women because my mom was a piece of shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No kidding.
No kidding. But
like so many years later, maybe take this opportunity to look inward and self-reflect and shit. But no, Ronnie never does that. He was literally interviewed earlier this year saying that he will never apologize for anything he said in the past.
Jacob has the key word there with teenager, because I think that's what we're missing here is Ronnie just wants to be a teenager his whole life. He wants to be Mr. Edgy Teenage Boy his whole life, and it shows. I don't know how old he was when he recorded this album, but it sounds like junior high school lyrics. Like he's, just complaining from such a baseline, I don't know, just non-poetic level. It's I don't know,
just non-poetic and simplistic.
Yeah, and not that there's any problem with that even, but, given the subject matter, it just makes it, even grosser and harder to ignore. And it's like he that's really what motivates you. That's really your impetus of creation is just, being a brat. Yeah. I don't know.
He was born in 1983. This album came out in 2013, so he would have been
28, I think.
Yeah, about that.
So he's a year older than me. What the fuck, dude? He should.
Yeah, seriously.
I was a year younger than him, and I was over this shit. Come on.
Oh boy, shall we move on to track 2?
Yeah. Oh no, maybe not.
Or, yeah, I mean, you were talking misogyny, and oh boy, it really takes a spike in track 2. Track 2, titled Bad Girls Club.
And after all the rise and fall, you're not worth my time. I'm calling it quits right now. This time, you're playing games and all we do is fight. It's getting late, so ollie, absent free. Other bad girls come here with me.
No.
Yeah, there's another thing that's aged particularly well that emo, that general sort of emo sense of like just hating women on their face because they're liars.
They're so mean.
They're
They won't let me play video games all day.
And I asked them to go to Wendy's. They said, no, I've got to study. She's a bitch.
She's a bitch.
Girls always be studying.
I messaged her on MIRC 500 times saying, hey, over and over again, and she never responded. The cunt.
Or the CUNT, as this song puts it.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, we get some...
Again, that's Ronnie thinking he's being cheeky and cute, but it just makes him look like an even bigger douchebag after all the various douchey things he's already said.
Yeah, there's like a really childish line somewhere in there about that, like childish and like almost sing-songy about like girls don't LOVE or something like that. That was like particularly cloying. And then we get all the edgy boy lyrics kind of
because
shoehorned
he is
in there
the
too.
one who's the victim. He's the victim of the Bad Girls Club.
Despite
the titular Bad Girls Club.
Despite the lyric written in this book, which once again need I remind you that Lil's handed to me, she called the cops and made it seem like I was mean. Did she make it seem like you were mean?
Oh wow, yeah, some good gaslighting there.
Could that be referring to the domestic violence arrest back in 2012?
Oh, that was before this song. Oh shit.
Well, like the album came out in 2013, and it was recorded like 2012 to it started recording June 2012. So you got to figure like that probably inspired this song.
Ah, you're right.
So he has a bone to pick with the bad girls. Isn't he like a bad boy?
Yes.
Isn't he also like he's not he's not trying to put forth the image that he's like a good guy or anything on this
The very
album.
general, very vague notion of bad girls.
You know that
It's
interesting you bring that up, Pat, because the last album has a song that I keep forgetting is not from this album. It's called "Good Girls, Bad Guys," and it pretty much covers that topic. And but that album is, if say what you will, it's much better than this one at the very least. That song is about as bad as anything on this album, though.
So, I mean, there's no chance that he just magically became a misogynist in between albums.
No. Oh, God, no. I mean, I say the last album is better. I say it's got no rapping. It's produced better. It's got a few songs that just sound more, just at the very least, average. I'd say the song Raised by Wolves, which is the opening track, I think. I'd say that I still genuinely enjoy that song. Probably because it sounds more like an Escape the Fate song anyway. But the lyrics overall are still Radke-tastic, which I don't understand how, because by all accounts, by literal accounts from my understanding, Ronnie did most of the writing on Escape the Fate's first album, which, I mean, you could pick any song from that album, read the lyrics, and if you don't like them, you can at least say these are fine. These are metalcore lyrics. They're melodramatic and whatever. They're not this idiotic bro douche stuff at all, except for situations.
I'm just positing here, but usually in these situations, I've found that usually that ends up being a result of because you described Escape the Fate as more of a band than Falling in Reverse. Like maybe there were other members to just sort of rein in all of his worst tendencies, as opposed to Falling in Reverse, where it's just the Ronnie Radke show and everything he says goes. Like, just that's free reign for him to be Ronnie untethered.
That is probably it, because if I don't have the CD, but Wikipedia just says that for that album, all the writing credits go to Escape the Fate as a whole. But again, from what I've heard, Ronnie wrote a lot of the lyrics in that. But again, that's apparently, he may just be taking credit for that. I don't know.
So this album off the bat is already making me think of classic Jukebox Zero's episode number 003, Limp Bizkit, Results May Vary.
Oh, boy.
With our most amount of views on YouTube, by the way. Check it out sometime.
Yeah. You think every bit as many people are going to just call us hipster F words as well
Probably.
after this
Absolutely.
on YouTube.
I think Ronnie will seek us out personally.
He seems like the guy to do that, actually, to just be like, hey, listen to this podcast. These guys don't like me.
Yeah, when he's not in jail, sure. So the reason why I was thinking of that was, again, we got this guy who's a big tough guy, and he waps and he hip hops, but he also likes to rock, and he doesn't like girls. The girls are mean. And I hate them, and I'm going to punch them in the face.
He does like girls, but it's the girls that are the problem, not him. He's sensitive.
And the one of the guys who produced this album, Michael Basket, I don't know. I looked up his Wikipedia, and it turns out Michael Basket. I don't know. Michael Baskets.
Let's discuss this for 2 more hours.
Yes.
Basket. Oh, God damn it. I just clicked his link now. He produced Results.
It was
Missouri,
his
didn't
first project.
It was his very first production
God.
work. A few people produced Results May Vary, including Terry Date and Rick Rubin. But yeah, that was one of his first big projects that he worked on.
He also worked on Life on Display by Puddle of Mud, another infamously shitty nu metal album.
Yeah, he's got a real track record here of some real fucking dumbass shit. We got a couple Slash albums, he's worked with Falling in Reverse a few times.
Lots of Alter Bridge.
Tremonti. Oh, yeah. Good stuff.
Trying to find
Chevelle.
Seven Dust.
Something here that I don't hate. I mean, I don't hate Alter Bridge. I don't like him that much, but I mean, they did Edge's theme song, which is always a good thing. Yeah, no, not much here. Not much here that tickles my fancy.
Yeah, no Hall & Oates, no Todd Rundgren, none of that. No Jerry Rafferty, the GOAT. Come on, people. Can you leave
Here's
now?
track number 3. Yeah, here's track number 3. Not a Bob Dylan cover. Here's Rolling Stone.
Just let me go, I'm on my own. I'm Rolling Stone in time, in the zone. Don't let me fall, just let me know when we'll make.
He's mild, but then he's sensitive, but then he's mild, but then he's sensitive again.
He has never been good at growling, but he keeps doing it.
Oh, his growling is silly. I remember hearing that. I was like, oh, this is gross. This is weird. Sounds wrong.
He growls like a demon who's baby talking a dog.
Who's a good little boy? Maybe want to play.
Who's a little bozer? Look at the bozer.
Who's my puppy? Just talking to my puppy. Yeah,
See, I didn't think much of it because, as I understand it, most metalcore growling is like that.
Nah, I mean, it varies, and it, of course, depends on your taste, but I feel like Ronnie is a particularly bad at growling.
Yeah, I've heard better. I will attest to that. I've definitely heard more believable.
Oh, yeah?
Anyway, like even getting beyond that.
Believable. like, yep, I've heard that before. That's a growl.
That was just a gurgle. I don't know what that was. Yeah, this song sucks. This is like Guantanamo Bay music, like what they blast down into your prison cell, like at full volume, just to torture people. I hate this shit. But
what's that, you ask? Is there another rap breakdown? Why, yes, there is.
Of course there is.
I'm getting kicks out of this shit like it was my sneakers, and the game fears me like a motherfucking white beater. Just let me go on my own, I'm done.
You know, I feel like I
boy.
know why this song was made.
I forgot. I took these clips today, and I already forgot what this clip was because I just named it "I Hate Life."
Well, you don't like this totally well-aged, not only wife-beating reference, but also dubstep breakdown?
Oh God!
Yeah,
way to stamp the fuck.
It has come and found us once again from the fucking Korn episode. Bro Step has sought us out one more time,
This
Patrick.
is dyed-in-the-wool bro step, like one of my least favorite genres. On top of my other like least hated, least liked genres of metalcore anyway. So like, you just like picked all the things that I don't like. I don't know. It feels personal. It feels personal.
Just Ronnie plays the hits. The shitty hits.
It's like this song was specifically made so that in 200 years, historians can look back at the music of our time and be able to pinpoint the exact second in history this song was released. Of course it was released in 2013. I don't even need to research that.
This is just awful and like a real like just kind of devaluing of music. He's just, like, it's like he's not taking it seriously. He's just like kind of throwing shit together for the like because he thinks it'll sell. Or cause
he's just hawking just random unconnected shit at the wall to see if it sticks just because it's the popular thing.
Like, cause like I get it that like this is would like the soundtrack of your typical like emo scene kid party probably had a healthy mix of like hardcore emo tracks and hip hop stuff because there was like a fair amount of cross pollination there too, even in those days. And that those two have kind of become their own fucking gross ass thing now.
Yeah. Right on down to like the intersectional misogyny and artists like Borgore and that sort of stuff.
Right. Not really sure what I was getting at there. I hate this subjectively. Objectively, I'm hearing a lot of things that like I guess a lot of it sounds like it like quantized to shit and auto-tuned to shit or whatever. But I mean there's some like decent guitar playing I guess happening here and there. What do you think, Jacob?
I don't remember any of the guitar work on this.
Like it's pretty basic level shit and like enough, but it's like I couldn't like play some of that stuff. Like it got to take some skill to do that. It's so hard to
really like for that to stick out when in the back of your head that all of this is in the service of Ronnie Radke being a fucking barf man.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, one other thing that kind of categorizes this kind of music is technically like somewhat impressive sounding, but overall personality-less solos. Like it's stuff I couldn't do on guitar. I'm one of those guys that's like mediocre at like 8 instruments. But like there's just no flair to any solo on this album, and I will like I said, this album itself is not super indicative of the sound of the genre. It's say what you will, it's its own thing at least. But the solos are very on brand as they're unmemorable and kind of beepy boopy and boring.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of probably just a lot of flair with razzle dazzle without any real substance.
It's a lot of guitar solos that don't sound like guitar solos so much as noodling.
Yes, a lot of sweep picking. I'm not 200% on what that term means, but that's the term I hear a lot in terms of metalcore solos.
Yeah, it's like it's a type of playing where you sweep the pick basically, and you mute the strings along the way, so it sounds like they're individual notes being played instead of like trying to run that fast up the fret or whatever. Which as a fellow slack of all trades at musician,
I love that phrase. I'm gonna steal that.
I could I guess like to be charitable, like appreciate some of the technical work happening, but I also know that like this genre of music tends to get like heavily processed after the fact. There's a lot of post-production, a lot of like triggering on the drums and like probably post quantizing and probably, some cut and paste and moving shit back here and there. So like, I don't know, it starts to be less impressive when I think about it that way. And I know like this is definitely the beginning of that era of like, like more people having Pro Tools, and shit and working through it that way. I don't know. What else? Is this album going to get better?
It doesn't.
Do we get any new genres? She's like, yeah, I'm going to mash all these genres together. All 3 of them.
Yes.
Just you wait.
Oh, yes. Does it work? Not really. So here's track number 4, the title track, Fashionably Late.
Don't talk that crap when you call me back. As a matter of fact, don't act like that. Everybody knows you're right. Everybody knows I'm wrong. It's 9 o'clock on the dot at the spot, and I'm hanging with her friends. Yeah. Great taste, beautiful place, and you're fashionably late. And I don't wanna be that guy that makes you sad.
This is the song where he makes a joke about having sex with like his girlfriend's friends. And it's just like, aren't I a cheeky boy?
Oh yeah, and the girl in the background, what? It's awful. I hated it. It was so gross. And then
Why would you write this song?
Speaking once again about things that have aged so perfectly well, like a fine milk.
just real. I mean, this was that like sort of sweet spot right before feminism kind of ramped back up around like 2014 and then like more so after the Trump election and all that around that time. So it was like this like weird little sweet spot right before that where you could still be Mr. Edgy Boy, Mr. like South Park Family Guy humor, and yeah, I think he's this is like the zenith of that period, I guess, because this is like a heightened example of that. He's just so cocky in his in his hatred of women that like he could just say it outright and think that he'll sell records doing it, and that like everyone will enjoy that, boys and girls. Pick me girls will be like, it's not me.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, as someone who went to high school around this time, this genre has a very large female fan base, and
right?
Like,
well, I mean,
not to be like think of the children, but think of the children a little bit here.
Yeah, how does that even work?
Well, I mean, that's
knowing everything that we know today.
I mean, that's a big part of my issue with this genre that I've kind of seen all along is that it is a misogynist, oftentimes like has been a misogynist scene, and like, a lot of the, motives behind the lyrics were kind of driven by, men not like properly examining how, they fucked up in relationships and, blaming it on the women in their lives and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it was always like trying at the same time they were trying to market it to women, and like, try and try to tap into that market that way. There is definitely like a marketing thing behind that, and it's. I think what bothers me is it feels exploitative. It feels extra gross when you really think about it. Oh,
for sure.
It very much pushed like any like girls feeling like any kind of internalized misogyny by like however they were brought up or however people around them treated them. This songs like this and artists like this don't help in that case. Yeah, and it's probably not my place to talk about that, but yeah, I mean that's definitely a good thing to sociologically definitely kind of put people in a more like all of us kind of in a more misogynistic place.
At the very least, you have to acknowledge that. You can't just pretend like something like that just isn't happening or never happened in the first place. Yeah, that's why I'm trying not to generalize too much, because I'm sure there are plenty of girls who grew up around this time who have fond memories of this kind of music and can be like, yeah, it's stupid, but it brings me back to high school, which I liked, and that's why I still listen to it now and again. And that's fine, whatever. Just as long as you do, recognize the problems with it. Here's track number 5, this one titled Alone.
If I try to make it out of this town, switch your style up and that I don't matter. Man, I've been in rap since I was shitting in Pampers.
Just every time.
The rest of that line goes, climb the ladder to the top, and now I'm shitting on rappers.
Are you?
Cool.
Shitting like Steven Seagal himself.
I have a lot to say about this song. First thing I want to say, I believe this was the second single, and I remember when this song dropped. The first single was the title track. Then there was this. This was the first. It was.
Oh, I'm actually looking online. This was the lead single. According to Wikipedia.
Okay. Well, then that's even better.
Fashionably Late came after that.
So this was Ronald's rapping debut. I bet he hates being called Ronald, so I'm going to call him Ronald.
Ronaldo.
Good old Ronald. This was his rapping debut.
You know that guy Ron Radke?
Oh, Ron Radke. Oh, yeah, he was a real
piece of shit, that guy.
yeah, he was a real piece of shit.
Fuck him.
Yeah, I really hated that guy.
Let him borrow my lawnmower once. Hey, he's a piece of shit.
He got sausage all stuck in the gears of my lawnmower. I was asking, buddy, why are you doing? Running over sausage. He said he was trying to defrost them or something. I said something about the heat of the blades. I don't know.
This is a metaphor for how women treat me.
I asked him how that makes any sense, and you know what he did? He puked.
Makes what?
He flat out puked all over my wife's begonias.
Gotta be real, pretty funny. Anyway,
you know what I gotta say? A real one recognizes a real one.
So
then I puked.
Fucking. So I do remember when this song dropped. You know, when you're a band like this, at the very least, you got to make your fans happy. But I remember the reception to this song being pretty negative unanimously. So I hopped in the Wayback Machine because, you know, YouTube can't show you thumbs down anymore. So I found this screenshot of
very smart.
I found this screenshot of, I believe this was like a month after the song came out. At this time in history, it had about 4.3 million views, 52,000 thumbs up, and 40,000 thumbs down.
Oh, man. Kind of not a great ratio to have, I imagine.
No.
Nope, dude was ratioed. So I think he acknowledges in the song, like, something about, like, oh, people are like, oh, man, you changed your style. Is it in this song that he says that?
Why'd you switch your style up? And that I don't matter.
Yeah, immediately before he shares his pooping fetish.
I'm getting what's his name? Chris Taylor Brown vibes a little bit from this guy too. And you said he's a big cancel culture critique.
Oh yes, especially in recent years. Like I believe he just put out a new song earlier this year that was specifically anti-cancel
I refuse
culture.
to listen to it.
Yeah.
I'm so curious, but I don't want to upset myself.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yes, victims of cancel culture. Let's pull
right
one
here.
out.
The song is called Zombified, and it has its own little section called TikTok Controversy. Shortly after its release, several people expressed their discontent with the song on the short video platform known as TikTok. People complained about the line, "Oh no, they'll never let go of something you said 10 years ago. They're canceling you, and they won't stop till everybody's zombified."
Every time, it always has to be like these guys. They just like boil everything back to be like everybody's sheeple. Everybody's minds are just being controlled by this vague Illuminati and like.
And it's
like,
always people.
Read a fucking book, dude. Like, just like for the love of God, read a book.
And it's always people where if cancel culture worked, they wouldn't have a career. Like every time.
No kidding. Yeah, no kidding. He should be in jail.
He was in jail.
I mean, he was in jail, but fucking put him back in. This is a crime against music that I'm hearing. This shit sucks. This shit like brought like music down with it. It lowered the bar. It made everything worse after. Like I can't even enjoy real music anymore.
That's quite a statement you're making, Pat. I mean, are you saying that music was brought down by something like this?
on that wreck, fly like a jet, switching my lanes like I'm racing a bet. I'm on that next girl of sex, no doubt I'm on top of the world. Break your neck.
Rubbish.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct on that
That's
notion.
the best word.
Fucking absolute trash. Like, that just sucks. Shit sucks. Like, I don't know. Bad music. What is he doing? Who's entertained by this? This is...
Oh, he loves those vocal effects. Like, no doubt he was in the studio the whole time, just like playing around with these, just going like, look at what I can make it do with my voice now, guys.
Do that.
And they were just like, and everyone else was just like, yeah, that check's gonna clear, right?
It's almost kind of quaint, like especially with the dubstep inflections in there too, because it's like, and it's funny because it's only like 9 years old, but I'm just hearing so many like, wow, this cool shit that we could do at the studio now. Like, I think we finally reached the point where we're like, we can do anything. There's nothing impressive. There's not going to be any more impressive productions anymore. Sorry, like we're just going to try to make albums that sound like everything we've done for the past 50, 60 years. But yeah, there was
pretty much.
There was a time where we were, like there were still new kind of techniques being tried out, and yeah, we're hearing them all here, and they're stupid. It's poop.
I mean, I guess unless you want to count those weirdos that are just like, we're gonna teach an algorithm to write an album. It's just like, what? No, why would you?
Oh, or Black MIDI, where it's just like, let's just cram 950,000 notes together at once and see what happens. It's just like for 4 minutes.
Like I read that Ronnie introduced this song because he wanted to introduce people who maybe only listened to metalcore to a new genre, which, that's admirable. But I watched this YouTuber called Dank Pods. He talks a lot about old like MP3 players and iPods, as well as like headphones in general. And something he said once, it was something like, if you enjoy music through the crappy earbuds that came with your iPod, that's awesome. Just keep in mind that music only sounds better from there. And I feel like if you got into rap because of fucking Fashionably Late, then imagine your feeling listening to Good Kid, Mad City, or All Eyes on Me, or 36 Chambers.
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah. Imagine a good hip hop album.
Yeah, I'm a hip hop novice through and through. I just finished All Eyes on Me like last week. It took me 3 months because it was too long.
Or like even better, like imagine that this is the second rap album you ever heard. Like first it's like you check out something like, say, Liquid Swords or something like that. It's just, this is amazing. What's next?
Oh no. This happens now.
All right, I just checked out Paul's Boutique by the Beastie Boys. All right, I'm going to... Recommended albums. Okay, Falling in Reverse. Oh, no. I hate music.
What's all this we have here? Operation Doomsday, 3 Feet and Rising. I'll check those out in a second, but first I've got to listen to Fashionably Late by Falling in Reverse.
Oh, no. Fear of a Black Planet, you will have to wait, because I'm going to get into this more recent effort first, just to kind of contextualize things.
Take a powder, Black Album. It's time for Falling in Reverse.
All of these are individual people who exist in real life. You know it.
Take a knee, Stankonia. I got to listen to Fashionably Late.
To the bench with you.
Yeah.
Saturation 1 through 3.
Yeah. I'll talk to you in a second. Mos Def and Talib Kweli are Black Star.
Excellent.
Here's track number 6, Born to Lead.
Don't waste your time, 'cause you will never win. Don't try and fight, it only makes it worse. And I will never be the one you can defeat. Believe in me, 'cause I was born to lead.
Yeah. According to Genius.com, In this song, Ronnie is saying to the younger set that likes his music to not let anybody tell them different than what they believe they can do in life, because doubts lead to misunderstandings in life, and he doesn't want the people he loves to doubt their decisions. That's a good, that's a good thought. I mean, it's absolutely pointless and stupid and hollow coming out of Ronnie Radke's mouth.
But thus far, like, the first kind of positive lyric that I've heard, and yeah, like, which is funny because he says that they're like, this album is supposed to be him messing around with more positive, uplifting lyrics.
Completely cheapened after everything that came before it.
What he didn't mention is that he meant like positive, uplifting lyrics about him fucking self. But yeah, this was like the first one where he at least acknowledges, like an audience, and that like without them, he's fucking nothing. I at least I hope he's saying that a little bit. But yeah, this was the first one that there's no rapping in this one, and it's like 5 minutes long, right?
No, there's no rapping. There is. Oh, okay, I forgot about this part somehow. I was reading the lyrics. There's no rapping. There is plenty of growling, inspirational growling. Ronnie Radke screaming at me, fucking howling at me to follow my dreams. Why are you yelling at me? That's not making me want to follow my dreams. That part has stuck with me since the first time I heard this. It's so funny. Like, it bugs me so much. Sometimes with metalcore, most of the songs are pretty angry, but every now and again you get a metalcore song that's very much a metalcore song that's not angry, but they're still screaming. Why?
Follow your dreams, chase the rainbow, follow the light, fantastic into your wireless fantasies. Captain Fantasy.
Fantastic. Skittles.
Eat the rainbow. Follow me.
I'm leading the way.
Josh Kiszka, what are you doing here?
I don't know what I brought upon.
Oh, we lost our minds.
So I didn't notice this until now, just looking over like the annotation for the bridge of this song. I have no opinion on this except to say that it's a real window into just more and more of what a complete douchebag, Ronnie Radke is all over this record. The bridge goes, "So please, please, just let me make my peace. I refuse to let your words be the death of me. Please, please, just let me live my life. Stop living in my shadow and just make it right. It's over, make it right." The annotation reads, "This is a reference to Craig Mabbitt, who is the current lead singer of Escape the Fate, and the person that replaced Ronnie when he went to prison. Craig Mabbitt has been accused of trying to be like Ronnie too much and copying his style a lot, therefore explaining the stop living in my shadow part. All Ronnie wants for them is to stop trying to fight a battle that they already lost against him and apologize to him."
His style? You mean his like generic fucking emo core singing that like everyone fucking sounds like? Like,
yeah, and like moreover than that, like he wants them to apologize. Like he wants them to apologize for kicking him out, I guess.
He went to jail. Like, what did he like?
For him going to jail.
It was like conspiracy to murder or something, or what did he do?
Okay.
Something fucking wild.
If you have anything pre-written, Lils, you can do it, but I'll try to summarize it if you don't.
I do not. I was just going to read off the Wikipedia page, but if you've got a more succinct summary,
my
then go
succinct
for
summary
it.
is from the Wikipedia page, so I think you'd probably do better. Go ahead.
All right. Under the involvement in killing and prison sentence section under Ronnie Radke's Wikipedia page. On May 6, 2006, let me try that again. On May 6, 2006, then 22-year-old Radke met with Marcel Colquitt near Shadow Ridge High School at the north end of Decatur Boulevard at approximately 2:30 p.m. to fight. Each man brought additional men to support them in the fight, with news reports placing the number of those involved at anywhere from 6 to 8 individuals. During the fight, 22-year-old Chase Rader, a man who had accompanied Radke, shot 18-year-old Michael Allen Cook 3 times, killing him, as well as wounding another man, Colquitt's brother. Rader was arrested and charged with murder, but the district attorney declined to prosecute him despite his confession, as it was determined Rader acted in self-defense. Radke and Colquitt, meanwhile, were criminally charged for their involvement in Cook's death, although Colquitt committed suicide before he could stand trial. On January 18th, 2008, Radke pleaded guilty to battery with substantial bodily harm in relation to Cook's death, and subsequently was ordered to be placed on probation for 5 years. And he was ordered to pay $92,372 in restitution for the medical bills of Michael Colquitt. After Radke violated the terms of his probation, he was made to serve 2.5 years in prison. Because of his criminal activity and prison sentence, Escape the Fate fired Radke. Craig Mabbitt, formerly of the band Bless the Fall, replaced the imprisoned Radke.
It's all these like verb the noun bands,
right? The start of that feels so childish. I mean, he was still 22, but you're still well an adult at that point. And you're meeting up outside a high school to
Meet me by your flagpole at 2:30. I'm gonna kick your butt. Mom.
Yeah, you're in your 20s by this point, and you're still getting involved in fucking high school squabbles.
Yeah, and then they had like real life adult consequences because a kid fucking died. Like, I mean, maybe he wasn't directly involved with this kid's murder, but like clearly he has no like I don't know that he had like a real conscience about it. Like, I think he just got caught and was at the wrong place at the wrong time or whatever, and he's just like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, just going by his lyrical content, everything that I've read about, reference to this incident and his time spent in prison really does just kind of frame it as, it kind of frames it as, him being the victim and not like, anything to do with the actual victim, the person who fucking died.
Yeah, like, you get to be alive, You get to be alive and be in, like, a little music band, where you get to play your little fucking songs, and this poor bastard is fucking dead at the age of 18, Like, fuck you, man.
But he's the one who's sensitive and suffering.
Like...
Radke.
Like, maybe he could be suffering from guilt or just, like, having to live with this, like, awful thing that happened in front of him at a young age. But, like, acknowledge that first. Talk about that first. Don't just jump right into feeling sorry for yourself and making us feel bad for you. Like, I have very little or no sympathy for this guy, really.
Shall we move on to track 7?
Yeah.
All right. Here's track 7. It's Over When It's Over. I wish this album was over.
Nope.
Take it back, my friend. All the things that you said about the end. This is it, this is me telling you it ain't over till it's over. Give it up, my friend. The story's settled even if you won't it back. Sunny time, fight around without a doubt.
Okay, I fucked up. That bridge I mentioned, that was actually in this song, not the previous song. So just imagine all that stuff we said applied to this section.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't even fucking notice. Like, I think,
Yeah,
interchangeable.
like the last two songs have been very boring. I don't know if that's an improvement or not, but I found them quite dull.
What was the title of this one again?
This one is called It's Over When It's Over.
Ah, yes, It's Over When It's Over. Yeah. Stinky. Big Stinko again.
Yep, big stinkum.
Big Stinko.
And since it is so boring, I thought I would lighten the mood with a quick quip that starts off not really upsetting because it's funny, but it's got upsetting background to it. So unfortunately,
Do tell.
So this will be amusing to anybody familiar with 90s professional wrestlers. There was a Metal Sucks article. The original article I cannot find. It most likely has been edited since then. That involved Ronnie Radke, and at one point in the article it states, quote, Radke is himself not married. He has been dating former WWE star Diamond Dallas Page since 2018. You may be surprised to know that Ronnie Radke is not currently dating 66-year-old, married, presumably heterosexual, former WCW world champion Diamond Dallas Page. He is, however, dating, let me see, 29-year-old female, former professional wrestler, former WWE Divas champion, known by her stage name, Paige.
Okay, so a little equivocation, a little bit of misleading to the truth.
Yeah, a little bit of a muck up on their part.
A little bit. That's quite funny.
Maybe they need to apologize to Ronnie too.
Okay,
perhaps.
Do it on your apology segment.
Yeah, the WWE apology section that we all know exists.
Yeah.
Oh, that would go on for hours. Days. The part of that which is upsetting, at the moment, there have been no public issues with their relationship. I believe they are still dating. What is unfortunate is that Paige, she's not an awesome person. I know her mom has been accused of some rough shit that she has defended, but I don't wish harm upon Paige. But she has unfortunate tastes in men. Her last, everything I know about celebrity dating, I wish I knew none, but I know this because I was into wrestling for a while. Her last relationship was with a fellow wrestler named Alberto Del Rio, who has since come out as a total abusive sociopath and has been blacklisted basically from wrestling, which is a very difficult thing to do.
Oh no.
So yes, all I hope is that I really hope that he's gotten over whatever domestic violence feelings he's had in the past and he's treating her well. That's all I hope.
According to Wikipedia, this Alberto Del Rio guy is now a commentator for UFC.
What?
Another victim of cancel culture. Another victim of cancel culture right there.
Oh, he can't stink up the joint in WWE anymore. He's totally canceled.
Yeah. WWE cleaned house, and UFC was there to go we'll take him.
Of course, it's like Joe Rogan's corner, right? So it's probably like, yeah, come over and have. Hey, listen, I just invented this new thing. It's a fire grill, and you put the meat on there, and it cooks it, and it's really good.
You could come over to our house and talk about people punching each other in the crotch.
Yeah, here, have some elk. I've just threw it over a fire. I just discovered that heating the meat makes it taste good.
Anyway, here's track number 8. This one titled Game Over.
My life is like a video game.
Oh my fucking God, are you kidding me?
No, I'm questioning what we're doing here. 83 episodes in. This is one of the worst. What the fuck?
I mean, why would anything else after that be any good? Why would we assume that anything after that would be any good?
Do you have more of that clip? Because you could leave it at that, and that's the song.
I mean, I really should, but I have a proper clip clipped out. Here's an actual clip from Game Over.
I'm just trying to keep from dying. It's just a game that we play, and for heaven's sakes, looking for a better way to play it. Life is for keeping score, and forevermore. Stop calculating and start changing.
Nope, not much better. It didn't get better. Were you surprised? I was surprised. It did not get better.
It's bubblegummy in all the worst ways, and of course all the cheeky usage of the fucking chiptune and video game references, and that was also very much a thing at that time. Just that oh my God, remember being in the 90s? Remember millennials? Remember being the year, the place, decade?
He just stops the music and blurts out the Konami code near the end.
Oof.
Oh yeah, real cool, man. Real hip.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah, this song fucking blows.
Our mutual friend Brian Gropner of the Gothsicles wrote a song literally all about the Konami code that runs rings around this entire thing.
Oh, I'm sure, and I'm sure it was done in in like an earnest way, like someone who like actually loves the nerddom and was able to spin it into something artistic.
Yeah, and it was someone who fucking wasn't Ronnie Radke either.
Like it just seems so cheap on top of everything else. Like it just seems like like very patronizing and cheap at the same time. On top of just how fucking corny this fucking song is.
Oh boy.
Plus the fucking lyric. Oh, hold on. I'm taking advantage of this book, so don't. Your gift is going to you, Slills. Let's not forget the beautiful lyric of trying hard to save the girl. Obstacles. I'm jumping hurdles. I'm growing up to be a big boy.
Oh, right. This was the big boy song. This is a song where he talks about being
a big boy song.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus Christ. Oh God. I'm cringing. Every single cell in my body is just cringing.
Can you truly hate a song that makes you smile so much? This song is so fucking stupid.
Over the course of this album, I'll save more of my thoughts for like my final thoughts. But yeah, there are a few moments where it was like, this is so awful, it's almost euphoric. I can revel in the fact that this is just like such utter shit that like, I don't know.
Yeah,
call me a patrician, call me like having a superiority complex, but like I'm like, man, I'm glad that I don't like this.
Yeah, there's something kind of comforting, like both of us as cruddy bedroom musicians in our own right, looking at this and thinking like, well, guess I didn't make that at least.
Yeah, exactly. And like I didn't take that risk.
I've listened to both of your music. It's lovely. It is lovely music.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're Toe. I've been meaning to tell you, as if I have regular contact with you. No offense. Toe, like a few of the songs off of that, I don't know if this was intentional at all, but some of them gave me like heavy like SNES JRPG vibes, like specifically Chrono Trigger. Like I just thought of Chrono Trigger from a few songs off of that.
Yeah, see, I'm pretty unfamiliar with most like video game soundtracks and stuff anyway. I'm not really a gamer guy, so that's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of like, I did a lot of like glitchy stuff on there and just like kind of clippy production techniques in general. So yeah, I could kind of see where that could be kind of influenced by that. Interesting. Anyway,
I don't know a good way to put it in words. I would just have to like listen to it and say, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Maybe I'll have to check out the soundtrack at some point.
Yeah.
So before we move on to the next track, I have to address this delightful little thing that I found on the genius.com page for this, because for the majority of the songs on Genius, a lot of the annotations seem to have been written by people who are very clearly either fans of Ronnie Radke and Falling in Reverse, or just people reading these lyrics in the most clinical way possible, except for this guy. One contributor by the name of Dingus Springus.
It wasn't me. It sounds like me, but it wasn't
amazing.
Me.
Who annotates this line in verse 2. Today I went to therapy, told him my embarrassing issues that I'm having with my life. The Genius annotation reads, he has to go to therapy because he's, a sick, twisted individual. Like a real sicko freak. Like he's the Joker. Another gamer reference. Impressed?
What a hero!
And it gets better.
God bless you, Dingus Springus.
The picture attached to it is a badly made meme with a picture of the Joker from The Dark Knight with the caption saying, 80% of boys have girlfriends, rest 20% are having a brain. and directly under that, a YouTube link to a video, which I assume this is like a screenshot of, called 15 Epic Boys Quotes, Joker's Ultimate Quotes.
Oh my goodness. Fucking amazing. That's a hero.
Yes.
Oh, I wish I was Pringus McDingus or whatever.
Yes. I don't know if you're listening, Dingus Springus, but we salute you.
Where did I get McPringus from?
Because it fit the rhyme scheme, I guess.
It did.
On that note, back to the opposite of mirth with track number 9, Self-Destruct Personality.
Awful.
Hate my mother.
He just puts it right out there.
It sounds like an Eminem parody almost, but it's not.
I mean, sure, at least he's being upfront with it, kind of.
Oh my god, this is so... It's crass. Just fucking crass. Good god.
Do you suppose he still performs those songs after supposedly he's forgiven his mother, like, years later?
I don't know if any of them are popular enough for him to worry about that. Like,
Yeah, fair
obviously,
enough.
Falling in Reverse are plenty popular, but I don't know if these songs are particularly high up there. Like I said when we were doing Alone, like, this wasn't, even among fans, it doesn't seem this album was supremely liked too much.
Well, fortunately, I can look this up
Oh yeah, we
on
got
setlist.fm.
Setlist. Oh yeah, that's a fun website to just be on.
Oh
I
yeah,
found it
you
because
can
of this
you can really
podcast.
fall into a hole with that.
So this one's
Gee,
a,
Alice Cooper's released like 30 albums. Which ones has he played no songs from?
Oh, it would seem that yep, according to setlist.fm, they have not performed Self-Destruct Personality since 2014,
Okay.
which I think was around the time that he forgave his mother. So there's
Yeah.
at least that, I guess.
He's
kind
consistent.
of. I don't know.
So, yeah.
Unfortunately, however, he does perform a lot of other fashionably late songs. Like, still to this day, like Rolling Stone and Alone and that shit.
So this one's a lively little shuffle. And yeah, this is where he says his daddy tells him not to bite his tongue. Another just like, simpering little boy reference there. About like being a big boy, but he's listening to his daddy. Yeah,
Such
annoying.
a big, brave boy, that Ronnie.
All right, buddy.
Running
up.
Such a big, brave boy running over the sausages with the lawnmower.
I'm doing it all by myself now, Dad. Just like you taught me. You said, mow the sausages and they will come.
Someday I will understand what that means, Father.
No, you won't. You're Ronnie Radke.
Now, son, you got to plant your bratwurst at the beginning of April and let it sit in there. Plenty of water for several months and then harvest it in the fall. And simply smashing bratwurst by then.
Yes, Father, I will mow the bratwurst. I will mow the sausages, as in I will reap what I sow, and I will move on from the past and understand myself personally. No, I meant literally run over the bratwursts.
At once. Don't let the goats eat them.
What are you, stupid?
I'm going to go right alone.
That sounds like a good.
I'm going to write a song blaming my mom for this.
That sounds like a good use of time.
One thing we've somehow avoided up to this point, but I'm really curious to see what you two think. What do you think of Ronnie's voice? What do you think of his vocals?
Generic.
Really?
I literally could not. If you put this next to a bunch of different metalcore singers, I have a feeling I would not be able to tell the difference, which maybe speaks to how undereducated about the genre I am, but I just hear this voice and think, oh, it's all of the metalcore people.
I personally think it's a unique blend of irritating. Personally, he does this weird bouncy guttural thing, and he enunciates really hard.
I mean, sure. I guess if I had to give it a word other than generic, the first word that comes to mind is shrill.
Oh yeah, that's a good word too. And it doesn't help that this album's production is so compressed, so it sounds like, I apologize for this visual, but it sounds like he's just licking your ear the whole time. And there is a way to produce an album so that his weaknesses are kind of hidden a bit. This Fashionably Late is not how you do that.
Well, this was this was a very typical kind of vocal approach at that time, and one that just always kind of got on my nerves. That sort of shrill over enunciation and the pronunciation of certain words, that like the hard R's and like the weird vowel pronunciations. I mean, it's all the same shit that we got with grunge bands, but now it's just like a different set of pronunciation. So it's like it's just like bad vocal technique, I guess. Or someone who thinks that he can hit the notes, but at the same time he's also and he has the power behind it, but at the same time he's got auto-tune at his disposal. So I don't know how talented he actually is at this stuff.
Or thinks this is the way that you sing to sound really profound and meaningful.
Well, that's it too. It's the sort of
and heartfelt.
The over pronunciation. It's funny. I want to link it to Brandon Boyd from Incubus, because he kind of had that over enunciation tendency, albeit not nearly as annoying, but that was and also the sort of lyrics that he thought he was super clever saying it out of his mouth, which weirdly I think he adopted from Alanis Morissette, because she has very overly enunciating vocals, but I don't know where I'm getting with that. I hate the vocals. It's a big non-starter for me, all over this album. Sorry, bro.
He can
see. I would say if you want to keep it entirely within the shame genre, I might say I might go even further back and say you can trace it back to friggin' Tom DeLonge from Blink-182, more so than Brandon Boyd.
Oh yeah, I mean that's really the link to pop punk and maybe even Green Day for that matter, the pretend trying to sound British, snotty. I guess Tom DeLonge's was kind of trying to sound more snotty American, I guess. Whatever.
Maybe
that
a little bit of
is.
Dexter Holland from The Offspring too. None of those pop punk people are safe from this critique.
From their nanas.
True, but once again, I can't. We haven't talked about the production too much, in terms of just how it sounds rather than the actual instrumentation. I think this album it highlights everything wrong with his voice so fucking much, especially when you compare it to Dying Is Your Latest Fashion, when Ronnie does the same things, but he's mixed in with the band a bit more, and he's not directly in your ear hole annoying you. So it's
he's right up front, and like you said, a really heavy attack on the compressor. So you're hearing all of the mouth sounds, all of just whatever the hell, just all the weird tendencies and bad technique that's coming out of his throat.
I should point out real quick something that I'm noticing. Fashionably Late, producer credits to Ronnie Radke, Michael Basquiat, Ryan Ogren. Producer credits on their previous album, The Drug in Me Is You, which Jacob has said is not nearly as bad. Producer credits, just Michael Basquiat.
It's that results may vary charm that he brings to the table, and him alone.
His storied career at that point. He was at once a rough, but now he's a diamond.
Well, I mean, I'm more specifically pointing out that previously the only producer was Michael Basquiat, but now on this one, Ronnie Radke is just taking the helm at the first time and probably making some production choices that aren't so great.
Oh, possible. Putting his voice right up front, because he wants to be the big boy. You got to hear every little clever quip that he has to say, because he's the jonkler.
He jonkles, dude.
He jonkles. Get a load of this society.
I'm not going to say, get a load of this jonkling right here. You better watch out. I'm going to jonkle.
It's true. He jonkles. My son, he's a jonkler.
Why are you so serious?
Why?
Why so serious?
Why are you so freaking serious?
Why are you so serious? The seriousness. Why come?
Why so serial?
Here's track number 10, titled Fuck the Rest. It's pop punk.
Yeah. We're dancing around at the big pop pump party with our socks sunk and our bop
At the pop punk sock hop.
pop punk sock sunk. And it's called Fuck the Rest because fuck the rest, right?
Yeah.
We gotta make sure he's edgy at the same time. Got to stay ahead of the curve.
Oh yeah, because of course he's got a "Fuck the Haters" song.
Because the Blink 182, they got all their swerves done in just that one song. Otherwise, they required to be clean and
And then they never swore ever again.
Yep, and wear their Pendleton shirts and just really clean cut. Good Christian lads that you could bring home to Mama and Papa.
There's a lyric in this, Lils, that I think you will just love this lyric. I think it'll make you feel really good inside. I'll start a revolution bringing Gothic back.
Ugh.
Oh, I heard that.
That's not even the first time he says something like that in the album either. There was another song, and I forget which one it was. And and every time that comes up, it's just like...
He truly believes scene culture starts with Escape the Fate. Whether that's true, I don't know. But it probably isn't.
Oh, it very, very much isn't.
Yeah, he repeatedly takes credit for like goth and emo and scene culture. Like repeatedly.
And like goth especially, like as someone who DJs in the goth scene, like most modern goth music is so much more open now than it was so many years ago. I wouldn't tolerate Ronnie Radke's fucking misogynist bullshit.
Goth has just been also
fucking the likes of Alice Glass would just take him and kick him in the ass.
Yeah, goth has like also persisted for like the past 40 years. Like it's been a thing. Like it hasn't really gone out of style. There's been like pockets of gothitude pretty much around since the 80s. Like, and there's a reason. It's a genre that persists through time. That's like you said, become more open.
Yeah.
And I think in general has always been
it's
very.
It's not necessarily a mainstream thing, but that's kind of the point. It's an underground phenomena.
Right, exactly. It's for a lot of people, it's a refuge.
You can't bring it back because it never fucking left because it's an underground phenomena.
Yeah. It's like saying you brought jazz back. Like jazz is cool.
I don't think even
again.
Kenny G would say
like
that.
It was in the 50s. I'm just like John Coltrane. I'm bringing back cool jazz.
Also,
but jazz cigarettes.
Also, isn't it like pretty wrong to refer to the goth scene as gothic?
Yeah, exactly. That's not really. It's called goth.
Yeah,
that's what it's called. Gothic just makes you sound like a professor.
Like that's
like a
word I associate more with like literal,
like a weird anthropologist,
like a literal gothic, like old gothic art, not like modern goth.
Yeah, or gothic architecture.
They're different things, and that wording shows that Ronnie isn't entirely sure what he's talking about either.
Like Visigoths, like barbarians. Oh, geez.
Yeah, Ronnie's bringing that back. He's bringing back flagons. Flagons and pelts.
Now that would be something.
You kids like Chuck Mangione? Here's track number 11.
He's on this track.
Yes, Chuck Mangione is on this track. Not many people know that. He's in the credits under cornet hugging. I forget what actual instrument he plays.
Yeah, a flugelhorn.
Bugle.
Close enough.
Flugelhorn, that's it. Here's track number 11, Keep Holding On.
They sing my songs and feel my pain. 'Cause pain is what creates my fame. A vicious cycle, someday I'll get out. I can't believe I'm standing here at all. I can't believe I made it this far. On my way with a smile on my face to the top, and I'm not falling off.
Well, I've spent nigh upon 10 tracks being misogynist and a complete total fuckface and saying how much I hate my mom. Might as well just really go all in on being inspirational on track 11.
I don't feel inspired to do anything except like listen to literally anything else but this. Like, I would much rather listen to Results May Vary than this. I would be much more entertained.
Yeah, I mean, the last half of this album just gets fucking really boring, and that's one of the worst parts about this album is that it goes back and forth between like skin crawling and dreadfully boring, and that is the worst combination. One or like skin crawling, you could find some entertainment value in. Boring, it's just you could ignore it. Put it together, and it's just an unholy combination of bullshit.
Yeah, they're not. When you put them together, they don't cancel each other out. And, like, I got to imagine it's really weird to call this album front-loaded when the front half of it is also terrible for a different reason.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the peaks on this album are like the really big swings that he does, like the dubstep, the rapping, like just all the shit that's like getting an emotion out of me, which is just like just everything just cringing and puckering and wanting to unalive itself. But like, yeah, the boring sections, I guess like thankfully that they don't give me enough time to be bored by them, because like before I'm bored, you get subjected to something that's like just fucking a monstrosity. And I don't remember. Do we get any like of those in this song, or this is just like nearly 5 minutes of like an emo ballad, basically?
Yeah, it's just Karen core.
It's pretty much just an emo ballad. That one of those ballads where like they're just like, let's put in this orchestral section to make people think that it's deep.
In the year of our Lord 2013, because like, you know, the ghost of Michael Kamen lives on.
Let's give it a fucking Spider-Man 2. Let's give it a fucking Spider-Man soundtrack, Hero by Chad Kroeger string section.
Good God, I would much rather listen to that fucking song than this.
I'd rather listen to most Nickelback, honestly.
If only a hero could save us, not gonna bear all the way. Down on the wings of an eagle. I don't know.
Let me just get out in front before someone says like they will not stand for this Josie Scott of Saliva Erasure because he's also on it.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, he's there.
No one cares. Okay.
No Salivies are going to hit us up on Twitter and ratio us.
Yeah, don't fucking add us, Salivos.
Saliva
God
guys.
Salivos.
What I assume Saliva's fan base is called.
Yeah, they have there's Salivos.
Their famous fan base, the Big Salivo Boys.
I thought they were just called the Mouth.
This is a bunch of bikers that have a gang together called the Mouth. All right, boys, the Mouth is in session. First order of business. New jackets. No. Frankie here was saying we need pockets that could fit at least 2 hot dogs. And I think that's a bit extravagant, but I thought I would take it to the council first. What?
I can't bring any hot dogs. Ronnie Radke mowed over all of them.
Oh, God damn it. He was only supposed to get the bratwurst. Those hot dogs are ready to go. We're planting them For 3 years now. They take 3 years to establish, goddammit. Like fucking asparagus.
It's a rough crop of hot dogs this season.
There's the drought. They don't like the heat. Oddly enough, they're called hot dogs, but they hate the heat.
Next order of business. What are we going to do about those fucking posers who dare to call themselves saliva fans in the gland?
No, see, I was thinking that we could have like an old-fashioned get-together and, just try to get, like maybe extend the olive branch.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Are we bringing our hot dogs? They could bring their hamburgers? Shut the fuck up, Jerry.
Frank, if you bring up the goddamn hot dogs one more time, I swear to God. I swear to fucking God. I will end you right here.
Oh. We're only one track away from the end. Should we dive into it?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Steel yourself for track number 12, the twangy song, Drifter.
Oh, Christ.
I surrender. Put my weapons down. I can't remember what I'm doing in this town. It's time for me to pack my bags. I will always be alone. The only thing I've ever known is out there on the road. I'm a drifter.
Ronnie Radke heard precisely one country song, and that was Folsom State Blues by Johnny Cash, and thought, yeah, me too.
It's so dumb. It's so fucking stupid. And yeah, just like an affront to like anything tasteful to just basically just do a straight up fucking like country pastiche like that, but then do the same fucking emo style vocals over it. Like he's doing something revolutionary.
Would you rather he do
jamming these two things together?
Would you rather he do a phony country accent?
Yeah.
Yes.
I kind of do. I kind of fucking do.
Like
he might as well.
Well, I mean, like he's been going on this tack for the entire album, and it's not working.
Yeah, you know what? Fair enough.
Give us at least one y'all.
My fiance just texted me on Discord saying I would. They're in the other room.
I kind of wish we got a little more country like on the rest of this album. Like it could have been a nice break for because
then it would be a different album.
I mean, yeah, it would be a different album. It would be another genre thrown into the mix. I have to say, I had a different tab open when this song started, and I listened to it on YouTube this time around because I didn't want to give him any like micro scent through Spotify at all. And it just fucks up my algorithm. I don't need that shit. I don't need people seeing that I'm listening to Falling in Reverse. It's an embarrassment. Anyway, so I had it on there.
This is the one where you finally draw the line on Spotify, huh?
It was this and Trapped. I specifically listened to on YouTube, despite it being on Spotify. Like there have been other ones that I did.
Well, I mean, in that case, I don't think Trapped can afford to be on Spotify.
They're on there. They are on there, but. Anyway, so yeah, I listened to it on YouTube. It kept on getting interrupted by ads. I thought that this was an ad for like, I don't know, like diaper cream or something at first.
Yeah,
popped up.
I was listening to this at work.
Well, he does like shitting on rappers, if you'll recall.
Yeah.
I was listening to this at work, and yeah, I had to do a double take because my brain has ingrained a few moments of this album for all eternity. This was not one of them.
Dude, he talked. Oh my God, that just reminded me. You just uncovered that he talks about diapers on this album. He raps about like rapping since he was shitting his Pampers. Oh, that was on the Alone one, I think, where he's like,
yeah.
"Oh, what do you do changing styles?" Well, I've been rapping since I could poop my pants.
Which was
that's exactly what happened.
Shit my Pampers. Yeah, like. Anyway, back to this song. Yeah, this is stupid. This is fucking dumb and a waste of time again.
I mean, what else is there to say about it, really?
It's again kind of funny. Like I laughed a lot in this album. It at least gave me that.
It did give me a good chuckle after a while because it was like, this is just awful. What a mistake.
So
just in the way that like you can't possibly imagine that there would be deeper depths that it could like descend to.
Right, just I don't know, just the utter lack of good taste being applied all over this album, and it's incredible.
There are so many instances when this album seems like it hits the bottom, and then all of a sudden Ronnie Radke pops up and goes like, "I found another floor."
Hey, look this one. I mean, this one's not too bad. There's just I mean, there's like a half inch, maybe not quite a half inch of just like stale dog urine down here. But I mean, other than that, it's I mean, the smell will go away in a couple weeks, I think. I don't know.
I can make a country song down here.
Yeah, I think so. I'd grab a banjo and
Now I know what you're asking yourself. Can I go deeper? That's what we aim to find out today.
I'm gonna take this pickaxe and see what's there. Oh, we got a Green Day cover down here. And
Oh, that cover's bad. How do you take the simplest rock song ever written and make it that bad?
Oh boy. You want to talk about bad falling in reverse covers, speaking of which.
Ooh.
Coolio authorized this.
That's too bad, Coolio.
Oh boy!
I like
oh
you.
Boy.
I brought. I remember actually. I brought this up in the car because actual Gangsta's Paradise came up, and I just let CJ know, like, hey, you know, Falling in Reverse covered this song, right? And they were like, no, we have to listen to it right now, and we did.
You really don't. Oh no,
we did, and we laughed. We laughed a lot, especially when the part where he said he was I forget the lyrics, like loped out gangsta set tripping banger.
Yeah, I mean, I
Oh,
think
boy.
I've brought it up a few times on this podcast, but the sort of trend of pop punk, metalcore, emo bands like covering these gangster rap songs, it's stupid.
That's
it's
the point
really
where
fucking dumb.
that's the point where irony dies.
It's so dumb. It's so fucking dumb, and it's like downright offensive because it's typically these like suburban white kids like trying to look tough, like from the streets of Hingham, Mass, fucking like doing their gangster rap cover, like trying to look all tough and yeah, and they have like no real appreciation for the genre. They're just doing it for like the shock people. Oh man, we're doing a rock version of this.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Wouldn't that just be so funny if we did if us like the white guys do the white guy music, we do like a black song, like try to be like black guys and but where you going, guys? It's like, what the fuck? It's never amusing to me. It always felt super patronizing to like the original pieces of music, and it's always corny, always the same like awful like forced whiny emo vocal, like trying to do these vocal lines, and this particular Coolio's Gangsta's Paradise cover, there's like layered vocal harmonies or something on top of it. He's trying to make it sound like a little bit Tim Burton-y, gothic or something. It's very silly. It's
It truly ain't.
I made sure you saw
boy, oh
that
boy.
one, and for that I do genuinely apologize.
Well, like I was familiar with that. I just never bothered to check it out because why would I?
Yeah.
But now I have for this episode, and I gotta say, my life is worse for it.
Yeah, I understand.
Like, I don't think I'm gonna
boy.
die any sooner, but I kind of want to now. I kind of
I might.
Not my life expectancy hasn't shortened, but like my life willingness has sort of depleted a little bit. Like, I like I could have had a few more decades left in me. I think it knocked off like a good 5 years.
Yeah, I listened to that and was slightly more okay with the abyss.
I would have gladly taken The Abyss over listening to this. Nothing. The sound of sweet nothing. The best part of this album were the spaces in between.
But that finally brings us to the end. So, I mean, I'm not really sure what else we could say about, like, our final thoughts that we haven't already, but I guess we should get to that. Do you consider this a worst of all time record, Patrick?
So first of all, I've mentioned this in our chat and I forgot to bring it up, but Kerrang gave an interesting review of this album.
That's right. You asked me to mention that too.
I don't have it in front of me, but basically the general feeling that they got was like, we're not really sure if this is genius or complete guff.
Right. It's on the Wikipedia page. Let me just read it. Kerrang! Magazine teased in their review of the album by saying, Kay tries to decide if Falling in Reverse's new album is genius or guff. To be honest, we're still not sure. They went on to say that this album broke their score system because neither 1 out of 5 nor 5 out of 5 would have done the album justice. They gave it an overall rating of fuck knows.
Yeah, it's just like, we don't fucking know what to give this thing.
They even put that in like the little sidebar that shows all the stars. It's just, 2.5 out of 5, 1 out of 5. Fuck knows.
It's like, look what we had to do with this unrecognizable heap.
So, subjectively, to me, this is the worst of all time album. I fucking hate it. I hate every second, every sound, every note being sung, just like with all of my soul. But like I said, this type of shit is like the soundtrack to my personal hell. I hated these fuckers when they were popular, like just this whole scene bullshit. I never liked it, and just hearing it now, nearly a decade later, it hasn't aged any better for me. There's a lot that bothers me about the story of this dude, this Ronnie guy, and like just so many others just like him. These fucking sleazebag like metalcore dudes that have always left kind of a bad taste in my mouth. And like I said earlier, like their whole approach was to get girls and like in a really exploitative, manipulative way. And like, I think, the business behind that is women sociologically tend to have, more intense fandoms and they're more emotionally invested in the people. They're not just like, ooh, showing up to the concert and be like, ooh, that's a nice guitar you got there. Ooh, nice amp. Ooh, that's really nice. What's that? 1960. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and they're kind of more like deeper and more meaningful and sometimes that I don't necessarily know that means it makes any more money, but it's a different type of fan base, and I'm sure it was also a way for him to just be a fucking sexual creep, but and that also just another way to take advantage of people.
See, here's something like I feel like I gotta ask you real quick, because this season, like before we even got to this one, it was already noteworthy in that after we listened to the Steven Seagal album, we really, rethought what we considered the worst album that we'd ever listened to was. And now I feel like we're kind of doing it again in the exact same season. So, like, how do you feel about this compared to our new, like, bottom of the barrel songs from the Crystal Cave?
I mean, I think Steven Seagal has probably done more damage just because of his particular level of fame. Like I'd never heard of this guy really before. I'd heard of this band, but I never heard of Ronnie. Like I don't think he has that much clout, and at least outside of the metalcore world, I don't think most people really give a shit about Falling in Reverse.
Yeah, there's never been a multi-part dollop episode dedicated to Ronnie Radke.
Exactly. But like I was saying, subjectively, I hate this shit, and just like knowing what this guy's like just colors my opinion of it. It's very cheap. It's very juvenile, childish. Not a lot of self-reflection. Not a lot of the things that I want from an artist, especially one who is like in his late 20s and has been in another band and kind of gone through the shit, been in prison. Like had kind of a rough upbringing. Like you would hope that kind of deepens your experience, and and you can really make a connection with people if you're just like honest with yourself and these emotions. And I think he's just too toxic.
That you learn from it and
that
look
you learn
inward.
from it. And you look inward. And I think like ultimately that shit makes deeper connections with people. This guy just wants to be toxic. And as a result, he's always just going to live in this, you know, toxic vacuum and always going to think of himself as a victim, always project himself like that. And
right.
Like,
because I'm sure he doesn't believe he's being toxic in the slightest.
No. Right. Objectively, I mean, I could see where stuff like this informed newer genres of music. That, you know, like newer sort of, we're throwing all these genres up against the wall, like hyperpop and you know the sort of emo country,
electronicore,
the like emo country rap amalgamization that's happening now. All shit that I hate and is all garbage and flash in the pan. But like, it's I mean, it's there and it's, you know, it's clearly speaking to someone. I just wish it wasn't. I just wish it didn't exist. I wish maybe it was a better person doing this. You know, if you know, like there's supposed to be a sort of element of humor to this and like a, you know, like a quirkiness. Like there's a fucking song where he's like talking to his dog or something. And like, I don't know, I can identify with that. I've had, you know, Gunter has like been on plenty of my albums, you know, meowing away. So like, I get that, you know, he can be cute.
Well, I think
that's
with that
fine.
quirkiness should also come like some sort of sense of self-effacingness that just
it would be so much
there.
better. It would be so much more palatable if he was like a likable guy, you know, and if it came with like, you know, a little bit more self-awareness or even just like, I don't know. It really just takes itself way too seriously while also not being serious at the same time. And it's just, it's gross. It's bad. It's a bad listen.
I have the same question for you, Jacob. Do you consider this a worst of all time record?
So, I'm a regular user of Sputnik Music. I think it's a really good way to organize the music you've listened to and how much you like it, because you can just give it a rating and then it adds it to a list of all the albums you've rated. And every now and again, something fucks up with Spotify or iTunes and your playlist gets wiped and you need to remember what you wanted to add to it. And that has helped me numerous times. Out of the like 600 plus 650 albums I've rated, I have given 4 a 1 out of 5. This is one of them. And after listening to it twice in the last week, that is not changing anytime soon. On it, like, again, on a personal level, it is very possibly my least favorite album I've ever heard. And on just a more objective level, I think that every genre that he tries to do can do better than this. And Ronnie Radke, here's the thing about shitty artists, like artists being shitty people. There is a level that you can separate the art from the artist. Like we all listen to, I'm sure we all have a band that we really like where one of the members or more than one of the members is a huge asshole, piece of shit, dog shit asshole. It makes it harder to do that when their toxic personality is so present in the music. That's why I had to stop listening to Marilyn Manson. He was legit for the last 10 years, my number one favorite artist of all time. But when I found out he's a weird sex pest piece of shit, like every song of his that mentions sex, which is a lot of them, became that much more uncomfortable. Maybe one day I'll go back and listen to more Marilyn Manson. I can't imagine a universe where I don't. But right now I can't, because his awfulness is just so present in when I'm listening to the music. And that is the same case with this. So just for him being a slime ball and a present slime ball throughout the whole album, that just makes it and its awful production and its terrible lyrics all the much more worse. Yes, I do think this is one of the worst albums of all time.
I pretty much agree with the both of you, and the only new thing I'll add is that I would say that this album very nearly rivals the Steven Seagal album in terms of absolute tone-deaf assholishness and douchery, which more than qualifies it as a worst of all time record. The only thing preventing me from calling it worse than Crystal Caves is that Seagal's overall shittiness has had wider real-world consequences than Ronnie Radke's. But, you know, maybe that's subject to change if he ever starts hanging around with fucking Alexander Lushenko or something.
No, one Ronald Tale.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
One Ronald Tale that we have avoided throughout this episode, and I can't help but bring it up because it's the most Ronnie Radke thing, is his little fucking Six Flags incident. I'll go ahead and
my God.
I'll go ahead and take the reins on this one.
All right, please do.
On September 29th, 2012, Radke was performing as a part of Falling in Reverse for Festival, a punk rock festival for Six Flags Great Adventures Fright Fest event, when he threw 3 microphone stands into the audience at the close of a performance, injuring a 16-year-old girl who was taken to the hospital and a 24-year-old man who was treated at the scene. Radke was charged with simple assault and aggravated assault and released on $25,000 bail. Radke publicly apologized for his actions, saying that his actions were not in anger and that he never intended to hurt anyone. Six Flags subsequently decided to ban hard rock and heavy metal bands from performing in the park in the future.
Oh, man.
So that's a feather in your cap.
Now I'm just picturing the guy who's in charge of that, like, is this large suspendered guy, 70 years old, is like, no more heavy rock bands in my Six Flags amusement park.
You see what happens? I told you.
Mayhem.
I mean,
of the highest order.
You two have performed on some level of stage at some point. Microphone stands are pretty heavy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing some serious damage with that shit. Jesus Christ!
I there's video of this. You can look it up, and like he just chucks them. He eats them. And what possessed you to do that?
Yeah,
He's a
as
tough
someone
boy.
who's befriended a lot of sound people, like I've come to really detest that kind of like, I'm a rock and roll shithead, so I'm gonna wreck stuff because rock and roll sort of behavior like that.
Nah, respect the gear.
It's like, yeah,
no one would hear you if it wasn't for the fucking gear.
Sound guy is the sound guy is there for you, for your benefit, and that's his equipment, and you're fucking breaking it just because you want to seem like a big boy.
At least don't break it in the direction of people. Like, at least.
Yeah, also that.
Fucking douche. I hate this guy.
Oh boy. Do we want to even get into like best and least bad track and worst track? Like, was there anything on this that was worthy of mention as a least bad track?
No.
In my notes I have the worst track as all, and best/least bad track just says fuck off.
I couldn't pick anything. Everything sucked. The ones that like didn't have the insane moments that like I couldn't possibly award anything to were just fucking boring. So like, no, I hated this album. I think I'm going to start a music blog pretty soon, and I think I'm going to review this album and like have it be my first Stinko rating, because this is inspiring me. This is like inspiringly bad.
I will read that. Much. I will read that when it happens.
I'm getting all fired up just thinking about it.
I do have if we're not even going to do least bad, I've had a hard time thinking about it, so I'll just go ahead and not think about it. But for least favorite, I do have one of those. It's got to be Bad Girls Club for the sole reason that I don't think it's fully left my head since the first time I listened to it, and my life is miserable because of it.
Your life is a little less good because of that.
Yeah, it's stupidly catchy. I'll give it that. But God, that song is putrid and annoying too. And every now and again, it just rears it comes back.
I think if I had to pick a worse one, I would go with the title track, "Fashionably Late." Not necessarily because of catchiness for that reason, but because like it's like just the absolute meanest track on this entire album. Because it's a song making fun of his own adultery to his ex-wife.
Yeah, it's
ex-partner rather.
Abhorrent. It's a sea of shit throughout this whole album. But like, yeah, the low points are probably your Bad Girls Club, the title track, like you said, because of it's so mean spirited and just like offensive and disgusting. alone is pretty insane. Because it's like probably one of the most like, overt examples of like mashing all the styles together. Because that's the one I think with the first dub breakdown.
Right.
And then the game one, Game Over. What the fuck?
Oh boy,
it is awful.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just awful like bubblegum crap, but like it's bubblegum that's been rolled around in like some shitty Alston dude's apartment on the ground, like getting rolled around in like dirt and I don't know, like bonchon chicken bones or whatever.
Dead
the fuck.
bugs
and dead cockroaches and like empty nitrous cartridges,
and slightly crushed cans of Gansett.
Yeah, it's a really big wad of gum.
Oh boy. But we finally got through it, though. We finally shook this off of our shoulders like a colossus shaking off a really shitty douchebag wander.
This fucking this was so bad. This is one of the worst fucking things I've ever heard. This was... I hate music a little more now.
You know, there is a small part of me that is... You see, there's two small parts of me that I hate. There's the small part of me that's happy to hear that because of the small part of me that was worried y'all might like this album for some reason.
Oh God, no!
I knew it wouldn't happen, but I was like, Jacob, this album's not that bad. What are you talking about? I knew that wouldn't happen though, but it was just a deep fear in the recesses of my noggin.
No, if you were looking to bring this album to task, like probably no two better people to do it, because I'm already coming into this like hating this genre and like just hating this whole time period of music and all these types of guys. So it's just like this is being like the worst example of it just makes it's a beautiful just fucking pus filled zit of grossness that just needed to be popped.
Yeah, but now Pat and I can finally, let it disappear from our rearview mirror. You, on the other hand, have your own cross to bear, Jacob.
Yep, I've got it. It is in my house, and I'm not throwing this away.
Yes. But all the same, we thank you very much for being on the program today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It was my pleasure. This was a ton of fun. Thank you so much.
Do you have anything you want to plug before we bring the episode to a close?
Yeah, a couple of things. You can follow me on Twitter at JigglyJacob. I just tweet nonsense and retweet video game fan art mostly. I'm part of the...
Now's probably the best time to tell you, but like however many years ago you just made a nonsensical like Vine-length video of you just blowing into a kazoo, and I had that on repeat forever for the longest time.
I remember that. Oh, I'm glad you found amusement in that.
And it never left my head either. Sometimes I'll just think about you going like, check this out. I just think, that was great.
I'll retweet that so anybody listening to this can see it quicker. If I can
Please
find
do that so we can retweet that on our Twitter page.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry I interrupted.
No, you're good. I'm also part of a Let's Play group on YouTube called The Straw Hat No, with previous two-time, I think, JBZ guest Michaela Scholl.
No, I believe she's only been on once, but we got to have her back sometime.
No, twice. We did Yes and The Clash.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, we should have her back again anyway.
Yeah. Plus, we did a series of Tony Hawk Let's Plays where we replaced the copyrighted music with music that y'all have provided, including music by U2, and it's very skatable, so that's great.
I'm glad.
And in terms of music, I'm teaching myself how to use GarageBand slowly but surely. And because of that, I've set up a SoundCloud. There's only one song on there right now. But you can check out soundcloud.com/jigglyjacob. I'm just kind of messing around, making like kind of Final Fantasy-ish inspired music. And you get to see my progression into one day perhaps becoming competent.
Very nice. Yes, come join us in our cruddy bedroom musicianhood.
Yeah.
Yes. One of us. One of us.
You want to plug anything, Pat?
Defunct podcast Old Men Yellow Cloud is going to be releasing a birthday bonus on the 14th. Yeah. So in a few days, unless this episode comes out after June 14th, in which case it's in the, I don't know. But yeah, we got a birthday bonus for Christopher. It'll be a fun one. So for those of you who miss our bi-monthly podcast, you can
Like
get a
me.
little taste. And then my birthday bonus will actually be out a month after that. So get another one in July.
Yeah, I'm still kind of sad I didn't get to get back on before it ended, but, them's the breaks.
Yeah, y'all ended it right when I started listening to it, so thanks for that.
Well, we got bonuses, and maybe we'll have y'all on one of them at some point. So yeah, check that out. That'll be coming out pretty soon. Nothing else really going on. Kind of taking a short break from music to focus on some other things, but that's about it.
As for me, I'll pretty much just say check out the other Zero Science podcasts. I know there's not a lot updating right now, but there's a lot of stuff in the works, and hopefully there'll be a more consistent stream of content coming out. As of today, I just released the new Hell is a Musical. We did an episode on Bo Burnham Inside, which I swear to you, Pat, is not nearly as bad as you think.
No, I heard good things about it. Now I'll probably check it out at some point.
Yeah, but otherwise, I'm still trying to get back into musicking. It's definitely a lot easier since I'm unemployed currently. But I'll keep y'all posted.
Yeah.
And that is that. Our theme song is Sunny Day by the band Froggy and the Friendship. You can check them out at froggyandthefriendship.bandcamp.com. If you have an album you'd like to suggest for us to review or would just like to leave us some feedback or a comment, email us at jukeboxzerospodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/jukeboxzerospodcast or on Twitter at twitter.com/jukeboxzeros. You can find us, rate us, review us, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon Music, or check out our archives on the Zero Science main page. Jukebox Zeros is a production of the Zero Science Network. For more great podcasts, go check out zero-science.com. And that about does it for this episode of Jukebox Zeros. I'm Lils.
And I'm Patrick.
And remember, sorry. We're sorry. We're so sorry. We're sorry. Sorry. We're really sorry.
I'm sorry.